and welcome to this episode of Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we're going to talk about recycling. It is good for the environment, it's important that we do it, and it's pretty darn easy because they pick it up in the big bins right in front of our house every 2 weeks. So Chip McDonough is with us, and he's going to talk to us. Let's first of all talk about how much we recycle in the City of Hampton.
Right now, this year, we recycled 7,800 tons for the year.
7,800 tons, that's a lot.
And we've been as high as 9,000, so there is a variance in there.
And what do you think causes better recycling? Is it that we're buying more stuff, or is it that we're better or worse about remembering to put certain things in the recycling bin?
I think a lot of it is education. I mean, the more information that we put out, the better materials that we get into the recycling containers. Mm-hmm. We went from an 18-gallon bin,
the kind that you had to hand carry out?
That you had to hand carry out, to the automated container, 68 gallons. So we put more volume there. Mm-hmm. So it is easier to get that type of materials into your container.
I know, unfortunately, I fill mine up sometimes pretty darn full there by the end of the 2 weeks.
And we do offer a second container if you're a high volume recyclable or recycling person, so that you can have two containers out there, so that doubles your capacity. So we do offer those services. That's
great. Okay, if you could review for people, what can you put in the bin and what you think you might put in the bin but is really the wrong answer?
Well, let's start off with the non-recyclables.
Okay.
And a lot of
easy choice.
Misconceptions are pizza boxes. Any food containers that are waxed, any waxed cardboard is a non-recyclable item.
But now a pizza box that isn't greasy,
doesn't matter.
You still can't do it?
It's a waxed cardboard container.
Really? It doesn't feel waxed. Okay, all right. You mean like the one from the carryout, not the ones from the freezer?
Well, yes. The ones that Pizza Hut or any of the other.
Van Costa's.
Correct.
Okay.
Any of the delivery type boxes that they deliver in are non-recyclables.
All right.
Pots and pans.
No way.
Clothing.
You can recycle that, but at the Goodwill or the DAV thrift store.
They have their own appropriate spots to recycle those materials.
Yes.
So those are recyclable materials, just not in our containers.
Gotcha.
Food items. Any food, no matter what it is, non-recyclable.
Not recyclable.
So those are the basics. Anything number one and number two, plastics. Anything with the label for recyclables is a recyclable item. Aluminum foil. You can recycle your aluminum foil.
Okay.
Cleaner the better.
That's what I was going to say.
Cardboard boxes that are not waxed. Mm-hmm. Corrugated or plain cardboard, cereal boxes type things. If the cardboard is large, like a cardboard box, if you can cut that down and put it inside your container, not a problem. If it's too large to fit in the box, set that outside the container, and usually that's going to be picked up as a bulk item, or we may have a semi-automated vehicle come by and put it into the back of the truck.
Okay. Now, how can you tell this wax versus non-wax? This one throws me.
Well, pretty much it's just the food type container that's deliverable. Milk cartons, things of that nature, those are okay.
Milk cartons are okay?
Yeah, they are. Detergent bottles are okay, without the tops.
All right. Take the tops off of everything,
Take the tops off of everything.
That's one that's a little tricky too.
Tin cans, green beans, whatever you may have, as long as they're rinsed and cleaned, they can go in the recycling container as well.
Okay. When people do their recycling, they don't have to separate anything. Everything just goes into the bin as long as it's
correct. That's why we call it a single stream recycling container.
Your technical terms.
Technical terms. So everything goes into the same bin. It used to be that when we had the 18-gallon bins, a lot of the problems that we had for non-recyclables, I left out the plastic bags. They are starting to become more of a marketable item. They're not a high volume, but what we asked when we had the bins was, please put your paper into a plastic bag to keep it dry. Mm-hmm. Well, now that we've gone to the single stream container with a lid, you don't have to do that anymore. But we're still getting the newspapers within the plastic sleeves. We're still getting shredded paper in a plastic bag. And if you're going to shred your paper at home, if you have a shredder at home, put those in a paper bag, and that's fine.
All right. So plastic bags, don't put them in the thing at all, and that you can't recycle those right now.
For the time being, they're not a high volume recyclable. They are working at putting that into the recycling.
You can usually take those back to the grocery store, by the way.
You can take them back to the Walmarts, to your grocery store. They have a recycling container there for those.
And so that's the same thing with the higher number plastics. I know I have a lot of 5s, and I just desperately want to put those in the bin, but you're not going to take it.
No. If it's in the container, we can't see it. Obviously, it goes to the recycling processing plant, but they're going to remove those materials out as they sort.
Now, does Hampton make money on recycling?
No, we don't. We do all the collections. We transfer it to Tidewater Fiber. At this point, we have a 0 tipping fee. It's all on them as far as marketing those commodities.
So the reason we do it is what? If
Cleaner environment, green.
That's right.
It helps to reduce the amount of items that go into the landfill, which also extends the life of our landfill as well.
And does save us money in a long-term way. There.
Correct. We pay for disposal costs going into that landfill, so any tonnage that we take in there, we're paying for. That's our largest cost of anything that we do is disposal costs.
Okay. Now, if people recycle, they do get a break on their solid waste fee.
They do. And what we try to do before that happens is to educate those people who aren't doing it properly or aren't doing it at all. So we're going to send information out before we ever start a higher or a normal fee of non-recycling.
So what would you say are the percentage of your homeowners who recycle? Is it pretty high?
It is high. Our set-out rate is in the 90 percentiles, and it varies from week to week and area to area within the city. So other higher end homes usually tend to recycle higher amounts. Don't have a
they may
really
consume
good
higher
answer.
amounts. Like, is that an education thing, or is that they drink more soft drinks?
I think it's more of they're a more valued or more priced out customer. They're buying more materials that are recyclable.
Okay, now we also recycle yard waste, which doesn't go in the recycling bin.
Correct.
What do we do with that?
That's still picked up at the curb on a weekly basis. You can recycle limbs that you trim off the trees, shrubberies that you trim, no dirt, no root balls. There is a maximum diameter size, there is a maximum length size, and it's 8-inch diameter by 5 foot long. Those are picked up by our bulk trucks, knuckle booms, and that's taken out to our yard waste site in the front of the landfill on Big Bethel Road. Those are then transferred to a site in York County through VIPSA. It was the contractor that we have that we haul all that material to. It's ground up, used as mulch, used as composting, and soil blends.
And this is a common mistake I see where people put that in a black plastic bag.
They do. And,
and
if we're talking leaves and grass, they must be in a clear plastic bag. And that's so our drivers can look at it, know that it's uncontaminated with any other materials. Paper cups, tin cans that you may pick up, sticks. They don't want any of that type of material in there because it goes through a trommel screen that's cleaning it and grinding it. So any of that material may cause it to block up. But all that material is used, reused, and comes back to the residents.
Okay. And if it's in a black plastic bag, you can't tell that it's yard waste. It could be clothing, it could be anything.
Correct. And that's usually picked up as bulk, and that goes to the landfill.
Right. So you're contributing to the landfill if you use the wrong plastic bag. I think that's a tough lesson for people. But
it is. And again, it's an educational process. We send out flyers, we send out informational packs to new residents in the city, new construction homes, all those get this type of information. Or they can call the 311 center, which is a valuable tool for everybody in the city. They have all the frequently asked questions online so that when you call, you have a question about what's recyclable, what do I do with any item, they'll be able to tell you that over the phone.
Right, and if you forget what week you are, am I a blue or a green?
We have a calendar that we have made up that each resident gets annually. This is actually a 2-year calendar, but I don't know if you can see that clearly.
Saves us some money, doesn't it?
It is a blue, all the blue weeks are the lighter areas. It's a blue number on there for the date of the week, and the green week is obviously the second week. So we do recycle bi-weekly. So you don't get a weekly collection on recycling. All other items are collected weekly.
Okay. Well, that saves us a little bit of money. If you had to run those trucks everywhere every week, that would cost more. And with the big bins, I mean, even though I do fill it up every 2 weeks, it holds quite a bit. And if I stomped my cans, I could probably fit a little more in there.
If you're crushing like your 2-liter soda bottles, making those a little bit flatter. Tin cans, same thing. If anything to reduce the volume within that can, obviously you can get more in it.
Okay. Are there any tips or frequent problems that your drivers have?
Contamination is always the problem. So if you're putting old newspapers in there, please take them out of the plastic sleeves.
Oh, I didn't think about that. People just grab that newspaper, don't read it, and put it right in. Okay.
No yard waste, no tree trimmings, no bush trimmings. The only thing that needs to be in there is the recycling materials that are on our sheet, which is plastics, papers, glasses also. I've failed to mention that earlier. Any colored glass can go in the recycling container. No clothing. That's the largest issue that we have in the recycling area.
That surprises me.
So, well, what you don't see, you don't know. And I think sometimes if you fill your refuse container up,
people just use it as an
extra
overflow.
Space in the recycling container, so they assume that it can go in that container.
Okay.
Placement of your containers is an issue as well. You need to make sure that they're within 3 feet of each other, no closer than 3 foot.
Because you got to get
based on the arm that grabs that
right.
can, and it has to have room to get to the containers. Don't park your cars in front of the containers. It has to be 10 feet away from your vehicle to make a good collection. Prevents us from getting too close to your vehicle, possibly damaging that.
Well, and these trucks are largely driven by one person.
They
one
are.
person does the driving and the arm operation and everything.
It is an automated vehicle.
That's
why
amazing.
it's called an automated collection. And that's the reasons for keeping all your items separated. So that each vehicle can get to the item, no matter what it is, safely, without damaging our containers, without damaging your property. So those are all important facts that everybody should know about placement. Put your limbs in a separate pile, put your bulk items in a separate pile, refuse and recycling far enough away for the vehicles to get them.
And I've seen you guys come through and actually help people out. I remember after Hurricane Irene, there were piles that had construction debris and trees in them, and the person with the knuckle boom was trying to knock off the stuff he couldn't pick up and make sure things. So I have seen your employees go above and beyond in terms of helping people get it right.
All of our employees are great about doing the right thing. During those storm events, it's a whole different story as far as what we're going to collect, what we're going to pick up.
Right, you do special things for that. Okay, well, how did you get into the recycling business? You were telling me that something about working on F-15s on the flight line was your earlier career.
It was one of those things that just happened. The recycling manager before I got here moved up to a different level. The job was open. I had done some things in the military. When I was an instructor, we always donated things, recycled, gave to the Virginia Food Drive. All those things were a part of the military portion of that. So I had some background in that as well. So it was just an opportunity that I chose to accept.
That's great. You seem to have a, enthusiasm for doing it and why we do it and the environmental benefits. And
It is beneficial not only to the city as far as keeping things separated, getting the right materials to where they need to be. Not only is it greener, it helps the environment, but it also saves the city money by doing it at a separate area.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Chip, for coming by. I appreciate talking with you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great. And thank you for watching this episode of Round Robin. I hope you'll come back.